And that was very much the same model of Warframe. The difference was I felt like Warframe had a lot more different content types and a lot more variety in your gear and that you would do. And that's probably because I didn't join Warframe right at the beginning, I joined in later. But it always felt with Destiny 2, it's like, well, really, you're going to use one of these handful of weapons. And they're just like the better ones. And that's kind of it. Versus like Warframe, because of the mods constantly upgrading, you could take a real crap weapon that's fun to play and just mod it up correctly and make something that's decent. With a few exceptions. There were some weapons that were just unsalvageably terrible. Or other weapons that, even if they were decent, they were so unfun to play that people didn't use them. With the group I always played through, I think my all-time favorite weapons in Warframe was there was the comb, which was a chain-fed shotgun, and then there was, I don't even remember, they were like kind of the equivalent weapon, but in your secondary slot. What was it I used for my melee weapon? I know at one point I used a whip that was really good, but it was just fun because most people would like badmouth. It's like, but once you got the mods, like, nah, it's fine. Like, I will continue to delete, you know, enemies in all directions, always and forever, and you have mods that you could use to deal with the overabundance of ammo use. And then there's a lot of Warframes you could use their special abilities to, you know, carry you through some enemies when it comes to restocking ammo. It was just kind of a fun run and gun play style. Whereas I remember it was really popular at the time was the Toncore, which was like a grenade launcher. I understand they nerfed that gun hard by making it friendly fire really easily on you, not your teammates. Yep, tomorrow we can fish, we can start trapping, we can do all that stuff. Now, we won't worry about it until we have to return to base. But yeah, when we return to base, we're gonna go get ourselves some fish. Oh, I need to make sure I turned on the radio. I don't think I did. I may have instinctively done and just not realized it, but I don't think I did. Just gave that person a little bop so I could walk past them. I could have just run, but eh. Might as well do some damage. It's probably safer to run, being entirely honest. Hey! New friends. And other new friends. Friends closing in. I don't get why this happens. It just seems like every so often you'll have zombies close in from all sides. I'm okay with it because it means we just kill the zombies, but you know, I don't get what's happening. Like it's not migration, because migration will usually be one big group of zombies moving here and there, and you can have a bunch of groups moving at the same time. This seems far more just one-off zombies all over the place. Like, I need to do more research on how the redistribution mechanic works. Because that's my guess of what it is something with the redistribution mechanic. Member says, given the current state of games, I'm glad I found Project Zomboid. There aren't many games out there at the moment that make me want to spend money or time on. Yeah, there's, like, I'm actually in a situation, there's quite a few games I would like to be playing right now, but realistically I can't play them all, because so many of the games are ones that you either play or you don't. You don't have the time to go between them. Like, Lost Ark looks pretty good. The new Path of Exile League looks really good. Project Zomboid is certainly good. I'd like to be able to play all those. I'd love to have more time to play City Skylines on stream. RimWorld is excellent. So it's kind of like just, oh, you know, I need more time. Yeah, I'd say the same for me as well. I can't kill anyone. Like all those games I mentioned, you know, you could, like companies like GGG, Grinding Gear Games, who makes who makes Path of Exile. It's like, okay, they're still indie, like they've gotten big and all that. Like they're one of the leading ARPGs in the world, but you know, they're not that small of a company anymore. Like, we joked about, you know, talking to some people earlier, we joked about, like, World of Warcraft and Diablo 3 and all that. Like, there's no way I'd go back. Like, I jokingly said you couldn't pay me to go back to World of Warcraft. I'm like, that's not entirely honest. You could actually pay me to go back to World of Warcraft, but it's probably unrealistic because it'd be too steep of a price. Because while I had a lot of fun with the game, I'd be playing 100% on nostalgia, which usually only lasts about a week, and then you're like, why the hell did I pay for this game again? Like, at this point. Not when you originally bought, but like, why the hell did I resubscribe to this thing? Like, all the things that I got burned out on are still here. Same with EVE Online. I had a wonderful time with EVE Online, but that'd be a game you play for nostalgia, and the moment that rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia go away, you're going, why did I resub? Like, nothing wrong with the game, but I've done my time. Like, I've seen this. For that matter, Elite Dangerous has kind of hit the same thing for me. Like, I have been a very, very active on and off player of Elite Dangerous forever. But just the way they handled the Odyssey update just really rubbed me the wrong way. Like, it was a super underwhelming release. And I just like, you know, I just don't wanna. Like, I had held off pre-ordering it because I don't pre-order stuff at all. Yeah, Burning Sun. It's exactly. It's like, Eve is, for me, the fun of Eve isn't even necessarily being in those big modes. Like, I've certainly been there. Like, it was one of my claims to fame that at the time I had been playing, it was the largest battle Eve had ever seen, and I was the one who fired off the first volley that put the two factions at war way back then. That'd be the North Venal Alliance. Or it's North Venal versus, oh, what the hell was the other group even called? They don't exist anymore, nor is the North Venal Alliance. But yeah. So, like, I have memories there. Like, my character is part of the history of that game that had very large and meaningful impact in a number of wars. But I left that a long time. And if you do look up Raw Stores and that character's still around, I don't know. It hasn't been me for a very long time. I may or may not have, when I was much younger, sold that account, which is not something I normally do and would absolutely break the terms of service, but you know, it's said and done. And that person may have gotten the account banned, and I may have reported that had been stolen after they got banned, and may have gotten it back and sold it the second time. Look, it was hard to make money in college. And I have a buddy who's like, so Eve? It's like, nope. When I quit that game, I think I mentioned this on stream before, when I quit the game, that's like, I am quitting, like, forever this time. Like, I am not coming back to this game at any point. I took a character I had who had a carrier, took the carrier into wormhole space without a means of getting out into a player-owned station that at the time was friendly, but you know, stuff happens. I doubt it'd be friendly anymore if it's even still there. So that way, if I ever came back to the game, my very first experience would be being in a carrier, trapped in a wormhole, where I cannot find my own way out, where people are almost certainly going to kill me, because that's just the way EVE works when you're not in safe space. And just dealing with it. So, my first experience getting back in the game would be watching an expensive ship get destroyed. That said, reading about the exploits of what people do, and when I say exploits, I'm not talking about game-breaking mechanics, but stuff like Ponzi scheme and insider trading and all the nonsense that happens in EVE Online. Reading about that can be an absolute blast, but nah. Burn and Sun's on point when it's like, the way gameplay usually works in that is either one, you spend hours looking for a fight and maybe not find one, or you spend hours staring at asteroids, mining them one after the other, or grinding out NPC pirates or whatever, making money. And then you get that one little glimpse of high intensity action that's a lot of fun, and then it goes back to just making more money and all that. Like, that's actually one of the things that was very detrimental to the game, in my opinion, is with the player-owned stations, it got people where you could not fully secure systems. That's not possible. But you could make space safe-ish to the point that I, as a player, could just go to systems, grind out money, and what's supposed to be like the Wild West of space, with pretty little threat if I'm even paying attention at all. And just because of that, it made things more monotonous and everything, because you didn't have to, like, watch over your shoulder for the boogeyman, as it were. Metaverse says, sort of feels like the transition stage. Maybe the balkanization of things has been removed around the water cooler type games of the past, combined with the sense of playing and watching a particular game, as opposed to all the little communities. Yeah, no, I would say it's kind of, there's just different things people look for in their gaming communities entirely now. Like, there are some gaming communities where, is that a katana? Starting the stream off with the katana. You with the katana, I want you to die up here. But yeah. I will say what people want out of their games has changed a lot over the years. Like, there are... So, like, part of the thing that caused a sense of community and stuff like World of Warcraft was to do stuff in the game required lots of people, it required time, it required preparation, and all that kind of stuff. And as a result, you got tight-knit groups. The problem was, if you weren't in one of those tight-knit groups, or, you know, things moved around where you had to switch servers, or other people switch servers, and you didn't have the means because it always costs money, because of course it does. That's just the way gaming companies work. Like, all that stuff happens. And just, you'd get separated. And then you get in these servers where there's just not enough people on the server to support that kind of group. And so they would have to do stuff to make it easier to find groups to do stuff. Or it's also the stuff that you need to do is not the stuff the rest of the group would need to do. So they're not interested in doing it because they don't get a reward that's worth their time. So they do have to do stuff to, like, ease things, and as a result, you know, the community is less tight-knit because I could just find another group. You know, EVE was the same way. Being a loner in EVE and trying to get stuff done was just begging for frustration. I'll just grab the katana out now. I was like, I'll wait till my crowbar breaks. And it's like, oh, I could literally kill hundreds of zombies and still not break that crowbar. Let's just go for the katana. Yeah, so it is one of those things. And I also think, like, when you looked at games like World of Warcraft, you know, with raid night and everything, having to organize all that, it very much locked out people playing who had any type of, like, outside of game schedule. You had to have sufficient time to commit to that game to be able to do that stuff. And so, like, that was a huge negative for it. Now, with, like, their group finder and all that kind of mechanics, it made it far more friendly, where you could just say, I want to group find someone doing the new content, and sure, you're not doing mythic raids with a big group of people, because it requires more organization than that, and blah blah blah. But it does make it more accessible to people who, you know, can't commit the hours to playing games on a regular basis, where their schedule is predictable or anything like that. It made it more open for more people. It had the byproduct of making the community feel like it's less tight-knit, because you didn't have to have a tight-knit community just to support it. Yeah, and then also, I would say games have gotten way more mainstream than they used to be. Like, I remember in school, you know, for the most part, us kids were all cool with playing games. But you'd have, you know, the parents at times like, oh, you're wasting your life, you're wasting your time, why would you do that? And of course, the easy response nowadays go, well, you're doing the exact same amount of time watching television, so, you know, maybe check yourself before you get all judgy. How you spend your time to have fun is relevant to no one's business if, you know, like, it's not wasted time. You know, your life is not your job. But yeah, so gaming has gone more mainstream. And a bunch of people's like, oh, they're making games too easy nowadays. Like, I wouldn't even say they're doing that. Like, there's certainly easier games, more casual games. I wouldn't disagree with that. But there's certainly also games that have been some of those brutal and challenging games that have come out in ages. Like, the games that were super hard back in the day, a lot of it had to do with, you know, pixel-perfect movements and all that, where nowadays it's just like, no, the enemies are smart enough that they can outsmart you. Versus, like, the old games AI, it was, I walk at player, I shoot bang, player die. Oh yeah, and there are a number of games like, this game is meant to be hard. There isn't an easy mode. And if there was not enough producers of games, I would say, yeah, that's a problem. Like, you shouldn't isolate people out of being able to participate in gaming. But with as big of a market as gaming is, it's like, yeah, so they might not be able to play that game, but there are so many games out there. That said, one game I do appreciate the way it's implemented. I wish they took more risks with it than they did. But one game I do feel they did a really good job in how they approached it was Jedi Fallen Order. I feel like that was very, very well handled. Because, like, they did have really good tiers of difficulty where, you know, if you're like, hey, I just want the Star Wars story because Star Wars, you could do it. Like, they had the, you know, the version where the enemies were way easier and you could do all that. Then, of course, they also had the ones where it's like, this game is just going to, you know, spit on you, kick you around, and laugh in your face so you get wrecked. They had those difficulties as well, and I thought that was fantastic. I also liked that it felt very... It made me think of, like, old-school Tomb Raider, and the way you're, like, actually kind of exploring stuff, trying to check it out, figure your ways around the various Jedi temples and all that. Versus so many Star Wars games are just like, there's, you know, there's the Empire, go kill. That said, they were very formulaic about the game and did not take many risks, so that part was disappointing, but I did appreciate it. Oh yeah, and I will not spoil the ending, but it is fantastic if you are a Star Wars fan. It is very much a fan service kind of thing, and not in like the showing leg or whatever. Like, it's the fan service and, like, seeing a main character be who you thought they should be kind of thing. Yep. Yeah, no, it's a good stretch for avoiding RSI, both tennis elbow as well as carpal tunnel syndrome. It's good for helping both of those. But like I said, there's a whole series of these things, and some of them are absolutely the silliest looking things you've ever done, but you do them and you're like, oh, like I feel where like my tendon was pulling way up here in my shoulder versus this one's pulling my tendon on my elbow and that one's pulling my tendon on my wrist. Like the same muscle, but like different parts of the muscle are being kind of pulled on and stretched and whatnot. So I do wish there was a phone app that went through and it scheduled, like, this is one of my pet peeves when it comes to all these, like, wellness phone apps. So many of the wellness phone apps will sit there and go, okay, well, here's the stuff you need for all of this. And they'll go through, like, your regimen of, like, okay, you do this exercise and that exercise and this one and that one. That's your stuff for the day. The next day they'll rotate in some other ones. But no matter what happens, they all eventually get to the point where they're like, okay, now you just... All right, here's what you're going to do. You just need this equipment to do it. I'm like, but why? That's literally accomplishing the thing that other exercise we've been doing this whole time does. Only now you want me to buy crap. And of course, you have links that very clearly you're getting a kickback for the company. That very clearly the whole point of you doing this phone app was to get me to that link. So I, you know, buy your junk and get you your commission. And just with the way they work, you can't get back to the previous stuff. Put away the crowbar. Okay, we're still queasy, because the moment we get to sick, we bail. Because we almost died last stream from fever, from just being around corpses. Like, we were shoveling ice cream in our mouth to be overfed to heal faster, just to try and survive, kind of close. I think we got to like 10% of our like 10% life left or something, too. That's our destination. That's where we've been trying to get this whole time. You can actually see exactly where we got to last time, where like the endless sea of bodies just kind of halts there. Yeah, I still expect to see a lot of zombies in these last couple of buildings before we get in. Especially since it looks like this katana is pretty much done. I need to adjust the back in this chair. It's not right. It's not where it should be. Okay. Let's see, there was a prediction about the book here that had been cancelled. Want to redo it? Sure, that's not a bad idea. Okay, so the prediction is, will we find the book we're looking for, which is the expert tailoring book in Enigma Bookstore? Yes, we find it. No, we don't. It's strictly this Enigma Bookstore. It's not some trick where I'm going to go and say, oh, well, this other Enigma Bookstore. But, so I'm going to give that a minute because we're also clearing the zombies around us, and I need to have my character eat. Because we tried to do this prediction last time, it just so happened we got bullied out of the bookstore area before we could actually get in. Yeah, they're going to break that door down here in a minute. If you're going to break it down, get it done with. There's like 3 of you hitting it. That door should cave really easy. Yeah, it's making the squishy wood crunches. It's splintering. Alright, can we get in here now? Hey, the Greater Danish, how's it going? Yep, that I did. Found ourselves a katana. Put it to use. Got us pushed in closer here. That's the reason I'm being so careful going in, is these trees make it so you cannot see what's happening. So they're super dangerous. And I do kind of want to be extra careful that we don't have more friends when we go and push in here. Before we worry about any of the books, let's make sure we're actually clear. Because the danger at this place is there's one way in and one way out. I don't want to fight, like, start looting the bookstore with that zombie looming at the window, so it's going to go out anyways. And clearly someone had come in the meantime. That's fine, though. That's why we're taking our time. Even if we don't get it today, being safe is more important than getting the book. The book is a nice thing to have. Being alive is important, you know, a critical thing to have. Oh, those are beta blockers. Well, I lost track of them. I don't care that much. We got plenty. Alright, let's try and make this happen. Expert tailoring. Prediction's done. We got it. Just checking, there's, I think, an engineering magazine I'm missing. That's it. Not staying for anything else. Those are the only two things that I believe I need in books at all. Alright, let's do that prediction. We found expert tailoring. So congratulations to those who got points. And Yogg in Peace has cashed in 10 push-ups, so I'm going to knock those out and I'll be right back at it. I don't think... I was about to say I don't think there's zombies around me, but I was wrong. Correcting my own posture before other people do. Oh, come on, let me put stuff in the trunk of my car. Don't be like this. Alright. I probably don't need that chair on us anymore, if I'm being real. Hey, I'm doing good. How about yourself? We scooched out of range in time, because I whiffed that. That's why I should keep moving backwards even when stabbing, even when I feel safe, just in case I mess up the timing. Alright, we're right about to hit drowsy, so it's time to turn around. Now, because I'm not feeling the pressure to try and push directly into Enigma Bookstore, I feel a lot more comfortable just walking down whatever row or aisle or whatever I see that has any zombies on it. Versus we were just like slicing right through the middle of downtown Riverside. Which has worked well for us, but you know, maybe I go up closer to the coast. After we clear Riverside, I'm going to... Actually, what I'll do is I'll just show you on the map. Alright, so right now, we're on this path here. So when we clear Riverside, the next plan will be I'll probably go around this route here. Just kill zombies. You know, maybe knock out this little neighborhood here, just because we can. There is a stop up here we can get stuff. But just kind of kill some of these houses down here. But my next major goal is to go down here to Rosewood. Would be my next major hit. Because there isn't a big area. I mean, there's the boot camp. We'll stop in there. But there's like, this is a place we'll want to hit. Especially since we know there's a really good car right there. I just need to clear the zombies out in the area. But yeah, so the next major city is going to be Rosewood that we hit down here. Oh yeah, yep. The problem with the military base, honestly, is just going to be dealing with this dirt road that goes out here. Like that's the part I'm not looking forward to. That's going to be full of trees the whole way. The prison won't be as bad. Like the prison's super dangerous, but getting to it should be easy. I mean, we'll still have to fight through a sea of zombies, but that's, you know, par for the course. Hey, Retro, how's it going? Gotcha. Yeah, you'll find, because I'm playing these ridiculous populations, I'll typically level up my stuff way faster so far as my combat skills than people running, you know, Insane Pop and, like, Apocalypse, those kind of settings. It just boils down to lots of zombies. Yes, we're nauseous, which is fine. I anticipated that was coming. So part of my plan is, now they're not trying to push directly for Enigma Bookstore, now we've found those books. There's a good chance I'll do is I'll probably go up along the coast and clear that way, and kind of bounce around which route I'm taking across the city here and there, just so I'm not dealing with like the ever-building nausea and all that stuff from all the zombie corpses. Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I do like having groceries delivered. It is certainly much nicer for me than having to run out and deal with a lot of that. Because unfortunately down here where I'm at, almost no one is doing what they should do. That includes the people who do the delivery, to be honest. You almost never see them show up with masks either, so it's like, alright, I see. No. So your character doesn't get anxiety from, like, seeing dead bodies. That doesn't bother them. But being around dead bodies will get them sick gradually. Not, like, sick like the flu, just nauseous and feverish and that kind of stuff if you're around them way too much. It might even be worth my time to just park my car somewhere and blast the horn a little bit, see what shows up, and then just move little by little that way. Oh, come on. Alright, replacement crowbar on that one. Alright, got a couple more zombies looming around the property. What is the negative that happens when your character gets anxious? When your character starts to get anxious, I believe just anxiousness prevents you from sleeping. But then you also have separately like panic. And panic actually massively reduces your ability to fight. I think the only thing that happens with anxious is strictly the sleep thing, but I could be wrong. Right, I don't want to lug these around, so I'm just going to read them real quick. So the panic hits you in two different ways. It lowers your accuracy, which in this game just means you do less damage. So it reduces the amount of damage you do per hit. On top of that, it gives you kind of tunnel vision. So where normally I can see almost sideways, because I have Eagle Eye, it narrows it down to just probably a little over half of what it would otherwise be so far as angle. And that makes it much easier for you to not see stuff coming up from your sides. And like, for example, being really sleepy has that same effect where, you know, it narrows the cone of your vision. And they do stack where if you were like super duper tired and you're super duper panicked, that your character's cone of vision is just so small. It's like, and also like narrows how much you can see behind you kind of thing. That you can get to the point you can see literally nothing behind you at all, like, which that simulates hearing, but you're just completely unaware of what's behind you. And you have this cone of vision that's like only maybe 15 degrees wide or whatever, which makes it impossible to watch for stuff around you, where you just kind of have to commit to moving forward. Like that's the stuff that gets super dangerous, that gets you killed, is just you end up lacking situational awareness just because your cone of vision's so narrow you can't keep track of other things happening. And I'm just hammering this book out. I probably shouldn't be, because if the helicopter shows up and I have no idea when it's due, we'll be definitely not in the situation we want to be, but we're also not home, so I can just leave. So I started with the negative traits of weak, obese, unfit, and as weak, obese, unfit, and slow healer. At this point, I fixed all of those except for slow healer, which you can't fix. Most traits you can't fix, it's just the ones that have to do with fitness you can. We just did dip into underweight, but I'm not too worried about that, because the moment we end up going home, we're going to fish a bunch. And then it will not be a problem anymore. I'm just dealing with hunger real fast, getting my salad all sorted. Then we go sleep.